It's cold and windy, and everybody complains when I'm out in the wind about my microphone. Even though I got a microphone sock on it, people still complain. I think they just like to complain, like they're paying top dollar to watch a YouTube video. You know, it amazes me. I'll never watch your videos again. What a waste of time. Well, at least it wasn't waste money. You'll go spend $1 million on cable TV and watch nothing. So anyway, I thought I'd make a video inside today, make a fire. And I got a question today that I've gotten many times before. And I honestly think it's a troll question. I really do. I mean, I've had trolls get angry about this subject. So I thought I'd answer it. And but as you know, we run this, what I call an EPA efficient wood stove. Well, that's what it is. It's not what I call it. And so, anytime I say EPA, of course, people go ballistic. I'll never buy an EPA wood stove. The government's not going to tell me what to do. I'll make my own before I do that. Well, that's just insanity. I don't care if it's EPA or not. This is just an excellent wood stove. As I've mentioned many times in previous videos, it's got these reburners in it that burn the smoke. So when you turn this down, the smoke starts to roll off those logs and it hits those flames, or the reburners, air tubes, and the smoke catches fire. And two things occur when that happens. It's just beautiful. The flames are blue, but they're dancing in the sky. It's like Aurora Borealis in your wood stove. It's absolutely incredible how it works. What we've noticed though is, for us, it's better to just run this thing full bore. Just open it all the way up, so we don't get to see those flames much anymore, those Aurora Borealis light show. And we just let this heat up as hot as it can, and then the insulation inside is what keeps us warm. We've just noticed that's better for us. Now, as you know, we don't really use huge logs in our wood stove. This is the extent of it. And we're always debating as to how much wood we're actually using. Carolyn said we're probably using 2 logs in here, and that could be. So what we do is I run 2 short pieces north and south, and then we run 2 longer pieces east and west. Sometimes 3, but since it's not that cold out today, we'll run 2. And then we put a couple more up here on top. Now that burning that smoke, when you look at smoke, the smoke is unburned wood particles is what it is. So it's a lot of energy loss when you're not burning smoke. It's just going out that chimney. So by having those reburners in there and lighting that smoke, as far as I'm concerned, it's a money saver. Well, you don't buy firewood, do you? That's stupid. No, I don't buy firewood. I go out there. But you figure today's wages, I don't know what they are. I really don't. But let's just say a wage in a manufacturing facility is 20 bucks an hour. And so I go out there and I split wood. That's my money. I could be making $20 an hour instead of doing this. So that's money right there. So I would rather get all of the energy out of the firewood that I possibly could, instead of just letting it go up in the chimney. And the other thing is obviously we have to worry about, I mean, whether you like it or not, we do have to worry about the naysayers of firewood. If you got this big plume of smoke coming out and it's going over to the neighbor's yard and they're breathing it, they're going to complain, and they're going to take action against that. They're going to call the EPA or whoever they can call to complain about your wood stove. So why not just keep the peace and say, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to have any government agency telling me what to do? Well, that's fine. I'm sure you do let government agencies tell you what to do all the time. I mean, I'll say a few and they'll be like, oh, I always speed. So, you know, I'll say, well, government agencies put speed limit signs up, stop signs. No, I run the stop signs. I know you're supposed to use newspaper to light it, and you know, you rub 2 sticks together, try to create a spark, get that newspaper to go. But I just find this a lot easier, considering where do you find newspaper at? I mean, people don't even use logic anymore. Everybody's online. Nobody has newspapers. Now, I have this hooked up to a 20-pound tank, the hose and then your torch, but you could just use the regular 1-pounder. I would grab it, but I don't want to let go of my hose. Now, you see how fast this is going up. It's because I'm running, cured is probably the best word to use, cured firewood. This firewood has been sitting out there for about 4 years. And so when you cut a tree down, there's a lot of moisture inside the tree because it's been drinking water out of the ground, making the leaves and all that stuff. And so when you cut it down, that moisture doesn't go away instantly. You got to get rid of that. And it, depending on the firewood, can take up to 2 years. So this is oak. Oak and hickory will take forever to dry, to cure. But you get something like poplar, maybe is a good one. Maybe maple, definitely walnut. That takes about a year. Now, each wood has its own BTU rating. And the way they do it is BTUs per cord of wood. So I think it's 30 million BTUs, don't quote me, but you can look this up on Google, but I think it's 30 million BTUs per cord of wood for oak. And like poplar, I don't know, I'm just guessing now, it's like 15 million. So obviously oak is much better. Now I know people up in the Northwest, they're gonna run pine. And the stove itself, every time I say this, I get people saying, oh, I don't know who you think you are. Up here in the Northwest, we have to burn pine. I'm not anybody. I'm just a guy burning oak. Your instructions to the wood stove says don't burn pine or cedar. And that's because it has moisture in it. Now, the reason you want to cure your firewood is because that water in there is doing two things. One is reducing the efficiency of your firewood. It takes something like 70% of the heat that you're using to burn off that water. So that means you're only getting 30% efficiency out of your firewood. So that $20 an hour you were making, let's see, if it was $10, you'd be making $3. You'd be spending $7. So it'd be, you're spending $14, I think. I don't know. YouTube math, don't try it. It's dangerous. So let's just say it's $14. So out of that $20 an hour you're working, you're spending $14 just to burn off water. So that doesn't make sense to me. So cure your firewood. The second thing it does is that water combines with that smoke particle, because the reburners don't burn the smoke if it's wet. I know this because we tried it the first year. It was terrible. We didn't have a choice. We just had to burn wet firewood. So that smoke binds with the water, sticks to your chimney, and it's like tar. And it's very, very flammable. It drips. That first year it was dripping down on the roof. Just big, huge clumps of black, gooey mess was dripping down. And that's just real flammable. I see it every year on Facebook. Somebody will say, why is my chimney red? Well, they just caught their chimney on fire. An ember will go up into the chimney, hit that creosote, catch on fire. A third thing that will do is it will build up so much, even if you do burn it out, the ash of the creosote builds up in your chimney, restricting your airflow, so you got to clean it. When we clean this, and there's nothing that comes out of it because we have cured firewood. Now, a lot of people are getting confused, and this is where I think the trolls, I know this is a troll question because I get trolls who I know are trolls upset that I don't cover my firewood. Now, I've said in the past that I thought about covering up, but the more I look into it, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, nah, we don't need to cover it. The thing is if you can split your firewood, so every piece should be split is what I'm trying to say. So you're not wrapping it completely in bark. That bark holds the moisture in. We've learned that. It really holds the moisture in. So we still have pieces out there that was wrapped in bark that are still not cured. And that's been 4 years. So if you get every piece split, even the smaller pieces, then you can let the log sit out in the rain, and as soon as it dries up, this rain stops. Within a day or two, that rain will drain off of it as long as it's stacked. Now, you'll see a tree that will fall over in the woods and lays on the ground. Well, it's sucking up that moisture from the ground, so it's constantly moist, so it will rot. But if you get the bark off of it, it'll, at least some of the bark off of it, allow it to sit out in the wind, it dries out, cures, and when it rains, then there's no more moisture. So I don't see the point in covering it, is my point, even though the trolls are absolutely sure that you have to cover it. And they act like that I'm just wasting firewood. We've got firewood out there that's 4 years old that's just fine, as long, you see, when we started this, we didn't know this, but as long as we have split it, the firewood is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the ones that we didn't split that we are learning will rot right in between the bark and the wood. So you'll get this little bit of rot there. See if you can see that right here. So if you split that, then that doesn't happen. But we have a moisture tester, and up until this year, even at the start of this year, we tested every piece that came in the house. But we're learning that the wood is pretty dry now, so we don't have to worry about it. So I just split this piece. Now you have to split the piece to measure your wood moisture content. This is a wood moisture content reader, and you can use it for construction, for your walls and different things, or you can use it for your firewood, and it's got different settings. One's for wood and one's for building. Now, if you split it, the outside is always going to be drier than the inside. So we're going to put it here, and we're going to see, I don't know, you might be able to see that it says about 7.8 maybe. But then when I put it on the other side, you're going to see that it's, hopefully you can see that says 9. So before I brought it in here, I split this, and that was the side that was split, was right here. So the inside has more moisture than the outside hitting the air. So again, when it rains, see, it rained like 3 or 4 days ago. So when it rains, that outside dries from the air immediately, but it's the inside that you're trying to get to dry or cure is what you're so worried about. So now that we've got the chimney heated up, I'm going to switch subjects real quick. I should be able to close this, and now we'll get that good draw because heat rises. And so when your chimney's hot, the heat will start to rise. The problem is with wood stoves is as your chimney is cold, the cold air is pushing up against the hot air, and in there you're going to get this fight. While that fight is taking place and your heat is trying to get higher and higher, you're going to get smoke rolling out. So you want to try to get your chimney hot as fast as possible. So where did I leave off? So my point is the rain does not affect the cure moisture content of the wood. You're worried about the cure, not the rain. Just to be clear, covering it actually restricts its ability to dry because you're not getting good airflow. So leaving it open actually helps it dry better, even though a lot of people assume that you got to have it covered to keep it dry. Now you want it to dry, not to just keep it dry, is what we're trying to accomplish. The other thing I noticed is firewood. So let's assume south is this way, which it is, and I'm pointing south, and that way's north. If you run your firewood east and west, when you get the north and south winds, which is typically where the winds come from, it dries faster than if you run your firewood north and south. And I know that because I have two of my major ones running north and south, and they didn't dry as fast as the two smaller ones that I had, which were east and west. I didn't know this at the time, but now I do. I try to get everything stacked in a east-west position. Doesn't really work on this property because we got this huge hill that we're on, so everything wants to roll downhill when I'm trying to do east-west. So as you see, we have nothing going on now. I mean, it's just all flames. If I push this in, you're going to see the flames die down. The thing is, you can't really see it on camera, but over here, I see it right now. It's blue flames, and you're kind of getting this flaming from the top down. Really don't know if you can see it in the camera. Every time I edit it, I don't see it. But that is the smoke coming up, hitting those reburners, flaming up, then comes down and comes back up into the chimney. It's getting bigger now. The longer this stays closed, the smaller the flames from the wood are, and the more of the dancing at the ceiling you're going to get. That's how the reburners work. The reburners, the air tubes, work best when you've turned down the flames, because at that point you're just burning the smoke. There's very little fire, once this all gets settled down, coming from the chimney, or excuse me, from the firewood. But like I said, to us, it's better for us to have a quick, fast burn, get everything heated up and let everything cool down, than it is to run this and letting the smoke. You'll get longer burn time, which is good probably for a bigger house. But for us, getting that longer burn time just means more heat, more heat, more heat. We've done a lot of experiments. Can't explain it really well. Don't know why. But I really do think that leaving it fully open is better for us. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video on my other channel where I'm working on a lawnmower or something. So hope I can inspire you to do your research so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.